Hello, this is question 6 on your November 2021 paper 1 from OCR. It's a binomial expansion question and is a year routine question because we have 1/3 as an exponent, so we need to use the formula for when the numbers are not natural numbers, so for real numbers, which in your the formula that you have at the front of your paper is this formula. Yeah, so when n is a real number and not a natural number. The thing with this formula is that we have to have a 1 at the front, so that's the first thing that we are going to do. Because we don't have a 1 in this case, we have an 8. So 8 minus 3x to the power of 1/3. We are going to factorize, so we are going to divide everything by 8 and we are going to get the 8 outside. So we have 8 to the power of 1/3. Don't forget that this 8, when you factorize, goes to this exponent. And then 1 minus 3 over 8x to the power of 1/3. And what we are going to do is to use the formula to expand this bracket, but not forgetting that this is all multiplied by 8 to the power of 1/3. This is cubic root of 8, and we know that's 2. So what we are going to do is to have 2 and then multiply by the expansion of this bracket. If we use the formula, we have 1 plus nx, n minus 1 to factorial x squared, and so on. So that's what I'm going to do. I have 1 plus nx, n is 1/3, and x is all this thing, yeah, included with a minus. So I have n 1/3 multiplied by minus 3/8 x, and I'm going to write all the brackets at the beginning. Then the next term is n, which is 1/3, multiplied by n minus 1, which is minus 2/3, divided by 2 factorial, and this squared. And I need 3 terms, so that's okay with this 1, 2, 3. I can stop here, yeah. And then I'm going to just find these coefficients and at the end multiply by 2. So if I do that, I have 2 times 1, and then I just do these coefficients. So this is minus 3, this 3 is cancelled with this one, so minus 1/8 of x, and this one is just easier with the calculator probably. So 1/3 times minus 2/3 divided by 2 factorial, and be careful because this goes squared. Yeah, don't forget that, because that could be wrong then. So 1 over 64 x squared. And then the last thing, I multiply by 2. So 2 minus 1/4 of x minus 1/32, or 1 over 32 x squared. And that's what I have to do. Yeah, that's the first part. Then state the range of values of x for which the expansion is valid. So remember, the expansion is valid when this whole thing, the absolute value of this whole thing, my x, is smaller than 1. The absolute value of that, so minus 3 over 8x, is smaller than 1, which means the absolute value of x is going to be smaller than just multiplying by 8 and divide by 3, 8/3, yeah? See, I have to find, and this is the question that if you don't know is confusing. So we have to find the coefficient of x squared in this expansion. The numerator is what we just did. If we expand the denominator, we will have something very simple, that is 1 plus 4x plus x squared. But if we have to divide this expression, that we don't know how many terms to use, by this one, and then find which one is x squared, it's going to be a bit confusing. So the trick that we do is, instead of expanding 1 plus 2x to the power of 2, we put this in the numerator to the power of minus 2. And then we multiply, because then things are much easier. Yeah. So what we are going to do is to expand, or to write this expression as 8 minus 3x to the power of 1/3 that we have already expanded, times 1 plus 2x to the power of minus 2. Yeah. So this bit is already expanded. Let's expand. This one is shorter because I don't have to divide by anything. So again is 1 plus nx, n is minus 2, x is 2x, plus n minus 2, m minus 1 minus 3 divided by 2 factorial and 2x squared. And I need to find the coefficient of x squared. So I can stop here because the x cubed is going to be too much, right? So this expansion, when I organize the coefficients, is going to be 1 minus 4x plus 12x squared. Yeah. And now I have, yeah. So what I'm going to do is to substitute here this expansion by this expression and this one by this expression. So I'm going to do it in the next page. So this is, let's say, this expression here. So the first bit is 2 minus 1/4 of x minus 1 over 32 x squared. And the second part was 1 minus 4x, so 1 minus 4x plus 12x squared. And now we need the coefficient, when we expand brackets, the coefficient of x squared. So what is giving us x squared? These 2 multiplied by these 12x squared, so the coefficient is going to be 2 times 12. Then this one multiplied by this one, because I will have x squared, so I have minus 1/4 times minus 4, so minus 1/4 times minus 4, and this one multiplied by 1, because I have already the x squared, so plus minus 1 over 32 times by 1. Yeah, and I just do that all together, and I have 799 over 32. Yeah, and that's all. That's the coefficient of x squared when I expand these brackets. But please remember, when you have a binomial expansion and you are dividing one binomial by another binomial, most of the time, the easiest way of doing this is writing this in the numerator with negative exponent. That will make your life easier. Yeah, that's all with this question.